How's it going, Assassinators? No Data here, and welcome to another Assassin video. Today we are doing the top 10 Mythics. You guys loved the top 10 exotics video that I did the other day. I said if we reached 200 likes I would do this top 10, and you guys blew that like goal out the window. So today we are counting down the top 10 Mythics. So a couple things before we start. First of all, this is my opinion. This is not measured by value in any means. Just because a mythic is number one doesn't mean it is worth the most. Second of all, there are no mythic pets, so no pets are going to be in this countdown. This is just mythic knives, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know. And once again, this is just my opinion, so if you don't agree with it, then that's perfectly fine. Let me know what your guys' favorite mythics are. And fourthly, the almighty Banhammer, as amazing as it is, will be excluded from this list because it is a developer exclusive weapon, so that's not going to be in the countdown. So if you guys like this video, be sure to leave a like. Let's see if we can reach 350 likes, guys. I think we can do it. I don't know. But without further ado, we are going to get into the countdown. So, at number 10, we have Spider. Now, the difference between the top 10 exotics and the top 10 mythics is that there are like 25 different exotics. And if you count the pets, there are like even more. Whereas mythics, there are only 10. So, the one that's on the bottom of this list kind of makes it look bad, if that makes sense, because, you know, it's at the bottom. And let me just tell you guys right now, I like all mythics. They all look amazing. You know, I don't hate any of the mythics by any means, and I definitely like Spider. I love Spider. I like the way it looks. I mean, it's purple. It's purple, guys. Everybody knows that purple is the best color, so obviously I love Spider. But unfortunately, the tale of Spider is a tragic one. When it first came out in like February and it had that update with Dark Horse Freezendo, all those mythics, Spider was the best knife in the game, hands down. It was valued at like 13 exotics, and back then, Corrupted Axe was worth like 6. So Spider was an amazing knife, and like a lot of people wanted it, and it was really cool. But over time, the value of Spider quickly went down. And you know, I traded for a lot of Spiders, so every time the value of Spider decreased, I died a little inside. And now it's only worth about 5 exotics, so you know. Oh wow, how did I just die there? I think it was like a glitch or something. You guys notice that whenever I have a mission on a map, I tend to just always find a way to die somehow, no matter what. Like, if I have a mission there, I will die. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. You know, I do like Spider. It's purple. It's a great knife. It's a 1% chance in the elite case. I unboxed one a couple days ago, and it was great. But it's just every time you look at Spider, it's just a little bit of disappointment, because you remember what it used to be, and you know, the dream knives, because you can use any mythics to craft a dream. You know, Spider has risen in demand a little bit. You know, it's better, but it just doesn't make up for what Spider used to be. So every time we look at it, it's a bit of disappointment. At number 9, we have Ice Ancient. This is the first mythic to ever be created. It first came out in around January, and you needed 3 Ice Lords, a Frigid, a Chill, and an Ice. And this was the first mythic ever to exist. For a while, people thought this was the best knife in the game, but that's not true. Corrupted Axe has pretty much always been worth more. But yeah, this is just, it's a really good knife, honestly. You know, it's blue, it's got, you know, there's not too much to it, but, you know, it's got that little snowflake at the bottom of it. And Ice Ancient has pretty much had permanent effects on the economy. You know, before Ice Ancient came out, the Ice Lord was just meh, you know, like nobody really hated the Ice Lord or liked the Ice Lord. It was kind of just there. But obviously people prefer things like Gilded or Dark Blade. But ever since Ice Ancient came out, Ice Lord has always been high in demand. It is one of the best tier 1 exotics to ever exist. And yeah, it's always been good just because of Ice Ancient. So that's pretty much all you have to say about Ice Ancient, you know. It's just a really good mythic. At number 8, we have Dark Horse. This was another mythic released during February, and in order to craft this, you needed Unicorn, 2 Dark Blades, and 2 Doombringers. For a while now, like for a long time, the crafting recipe has had question marks on it. Now it's finally been revealed. But you know, at first, nobody knew how to craft it, so it was, you know, it was, it was interesting because you had to find out how to craft it yourself. You know, or just look it up on YouTube. But, you know, for the first day or so, nobody knew how to craft it. So, you know, it was pretty interesting. And I didn't really find out about Dark Horse, like, about a day before the update. You know, I kind of knew about Freezendo and Rainbowseer a couple weeks before the update came out. But, like, a day before the February update, somebody told me, like, there might be, like, a Dark Unicorn knife. So, he said, if I were you, I would keep your unicorn. So, you know, we didn't really know that Rainbowseer was going to involve a unicorn, which I'll get into more detail about when we get there. But, yeah, that's pretty much everything. You know, Dark Horse is kind of a weird mythic, because, think about it, you have, like, a red and black unicorn puking lava as a dagger. So, you know, it's a pretty interesting knife, but yeah, it just looks really good overall, and I really like it. At number 7, we have Freezendo. Again, this was released during the February update. It is a reskin of Crescendo, just like how Dark Horse was a reskin of Unicorn. And in order to craft it, you needed Ice Ancient, Crescendo, and 2 Frost Dragons. And again, this is one of the crafting recipes that had question marks for like the longest time. You had to figure out how to craft it yourself. And, you know, when I first started playing Assassin, Crescendo wasn't really that good. Even now, it's really, you know, Crescendo itself really isn't that good. You kind of expect it to be bigger, honestly, when you see it. So Crescendo was never really that good. But then Freezendo came out, and something about it, like, it's just a reskin, but something about Freezendo just looks so much better. The only thing I don't like about Freezendo is its name. I mean, Freezendo is, like, kind of uninteresting. Because, you know, the word crescendo, like, is based off of music, obviously. So, when making a different version of Crescendo, like an ice version of it, they could have made it, like, decrescendo or diminuendo, but instead they kind of went with Freezendo, which is kind of a lame name, honestly. But everything about Freezendo, other than the name, is amazing. You know, it's a blue version of Crescendo. It's just an amazing reskin, and it's just a really good mythic that I like to use. Well, I don't have one right now because, you know, the Dream Update kind of drained all my mythics, but that's beside the point. It's a great mythic to have. And that's it. Freezendo is at number 7. At number 6, we have Earth Elemental. Now, this is the most common elemental. In order to craft it, you need a Wind Elemental and an Earthen Blade. And, you know, again, because it is it's the elemental that's lowest on the list, it kind of makes it look bad. It's like, oh, this is the worst elemental. It's definitely the most common, I'll give you that. But, you know, again, I like Earth Elemental. I like the way it looks, but it's definitely my least favorite. A lot of people have Earth Elemental as their favorite because of the detail it has, you know. Pretty much every elemental, you know, on the side of the sword, it has, like, a little detail. Like, with water, it has, like, sort of... It's hard to describe, but it kind of looks like waves on it. And on fire, elemental. It kind of has like a little bit of fire on it. You know, again, it's kind of hard to describe. And with wind, it kind of has like this little wind effect to it. But on earth elemental, it's the most apparent because it has actual flowers on it, which is pretty interesting. So I can see how people like earth elemental as their favorite. You know, personally, it's my least favorite. You know, the flowers do look good, and just the whole elemental in general just looks great. But, you know, it is the most common elemental, and just the color, not a big fan of the color. But yeah, overall, it's a great mythic, and it's at number 6. And at number 5, we have the Rainbowseer. Now, this is a reskin of Overseer, and it was released in the February update, and you needed 3 unicorns and 6 Overseers. Now, I saw this mythic back in the value list. You know, it was kind of leaked back then, so you knew Rainbowseer was going to be a thing. You knew there was going to be a big update. So we all kind of predicted that Rainbowseer was going to be a thing. You know, I talked to people about the Rainbowseer. I said, oh, this might become a knife. But I didn't expect it to be so difficult. Honestly, I kind of just expected the Rainbowseer to be an exotic similar to Unicorn. Honestly, I just expected it to be Overseer and the Rainbow Knife and you just call it a day. But no. You need 6 Overseers and 3 Unicorns. So when I first saw the crafting recipe for Rainbowseer, I was pretty shook. I'm not gonna lie. You know. Because I just wasn't prepared for it. Like, obviously, before the update came, I made sure to get some Overseers. Like, a couple. I had like 2 Overseers, I think. You know, so I could sell one. Because obviously I knew the demand was going to go up for Overseer. But again, I didn't expect it to be so difficult. You know, luckily I had some more unicorns, so, you know, that was good. But, yeah. You know, I didn't expect it to be so difficult to craft. So I was kind of shook. And I ended up doing some bad trades to get some unicorns. But in the end, I did prevail. And Rainbowseer just looks amazing, guys. It is one of my most favorite knives in Assassin in general. I mean, just look at it. It's like a rainbow version of Overseer. You know, it's got a good name. It's Rainbowseer, and it just looks fantastic, honestly. You know, I don't have one right now. Again, because of the Dream update. The only mythics I really have are elementals. But yeah, that's it. Overseer is number 5, and it is a great knife. At number 4, we have a Water Elemental. This elemental requires both earth and wind to craft, so you need 2 winds to craft this. It is the second hardest elemental to craft, and there's not much to say about it, except it's a good knife. You know, it's in Murder Mystery 2. It's called Tides, and it's just a nice blue mythic. You know, there's a lot of blue mythics. There's Ice Ancient and Freezendo, but there's also Water Elemental, and it's just a really good knife. You know, again, on the side it has a little waves on it, and just has a nice blue color. And overall, not much else to say about Water Elemental, except it's a really good mythic. At number 3, we have the Champion Blade. This is hands down one of the rarest knives. This is the rarest knife in Roblox Assassin when you exclude the Banhammer. You know, obviously Banhammer would be the rarest, but aside from the Banhammer, Champion Blade is the rarest knife, period. At the time of this recording, there are only 20 Champion Blades, and I have one of them. Again, I made a whole video about the Champion Blade, but I went through a lot of work to get this mythic. I had to play in competitive mode constantly. When I was getting Champion Blade, that's the time when I say I did not have a life. You know, when people say, oh, you have no life, I always deny it, because I do things outside of Assassin and making videos. You know, I hang out with friends. You know, I go places. But when I was grinding for Champion Blade, that is the time where I will admit I didn't have a life, just because I was paranoid about the leaderboard, so I didn't really do anything aside from just playing Assassin to get competitive points. But yeah, I worked really hard for this knife, guys. And, you know, it's not number one because, you know, it doesn't look the best. You know, it's kind of just a white knife. But it does have a little purple spot in there, you know, which is a nice attention to detail because I really like purple. It's just the best color ever. So, you know, it's a bit of a coincidence that the Champion Blade just has a touch of purple on it. But yeah, this is honestly, the Champion Blade is honestly my prized possession, guys. You know, it's the best knife in Assassin, and it is definitely my best knife, period. You know, the Dreamwalker is good, but obviously everybody knows that Champion Blade is my best knife. So Champion Blade is at number 3. And at number 2, we have the Fire Elemental. This is the hardest mythic to craft, period. You need to combine Water Elemental and Wind Elemental. So you need 3 winds to make this. This is a very difficult knife to craft, to say the least. And it just looks really good. You know, there's not a lot of knives in this game that has that bright red fire color. And when you look at Fire Elemental, it has a little bit of a flame texture to it. Like, you just look at it and, like, you see actual, like, flames on it. So that's the thing about Fire Elemental. You know, the other elementals are kind of just a color, but this one just has a nice texture to it. And, you know, again, on the side, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's got those little, like, flames pointing up on the top. Well, not on the top, but on the side. And it's just a really good mythic. It's really hard to craft. It's worth a lot. And that's all there is to say about it. Fire Elemental. It's one of the best mythics ever. And finally, at number 1, this is my favorite mythic. It is the Wind Elemental, guys. This knife can be unboxed with a 1% chance in the Elite case. And this is just my favorite mythic just because of the way it looks. It's just like a really nice knife. It's got that gold color to it. And you need it to craft all other elementals. You know, you need it to craft earth, you need it to craft water, and you need it to craft fire. So obviously it's really high in demand. And, you know, it's worth quite a bit. Not as much as, you know, some other elementals like water and fire. But just the way it looks, it's got that really amazing golden color. And it is just my favorite elemental and my favorite mythic, period. And that's it. That is the top 10 mythic knives, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all those things that YouTube people do. And the next video will be the giveaway announcement. I am closing the Flame Mace giveaway pretty soon. So look forward to the announcement as to who won. And I'm also going to have a bit of an update on the channel as well. So be sure to check that video out. And I will see you guys then. Toodles.